I don't know how many people care about this game. I guess the question is, why should they care about the game?
It's a really good question. I mean, mostly I put it on there because it's funny because I see, other writers on the beat. They're like, "Oh, Julian Edelman's back at practice. He's just, they started the clock on Julian Edelman." And I'm like, so what? Like, what? What's the point? Like,
so I want to jump in there. I want to jump in there for a second about Edelman, though, because here's my thought: does it tell us about his future if he comes back this year? Like, I'm kind of looking at this and wondering, well, wait a minute. If Edelman comes back for the final couple of games in a losing season, does that mean he's going to walk? Does that mean this is it? And he knows his knee is bad. It's bone on bone. He got the surgery or whatever he got done going back several weeks ago. So he wants to go out playing. And he's saying to himself, I'm going to be 35. This knee is shredded. Just to go out there, one or two more times, I could see it make sense then because, Greg, if I'm the Patriots, I have absolutely zero reason to play Julian Edelman in these games if he's coming back next year.
Yeah. Look, Nick, it's a valid point by you. I think it's something that will be one of the things that we're watching here down the stretch. I mean, I understand Bill Belichick's mantra about, trying to win every game. And I'm sure he wants to tie Landry for most winning seasons and, all that stuff. But, what would be the point of playing Julian Edelman in any of these last three games? I mean, I hope he's not out there on Sunday. Most of the time when these guys that they've started the clock, I don't know if any of them have returned for that immediate game. It's normally been like, get your feet wet.
Yeah.
With practice, then we'll see how it goes. Rest over the weekend, then we'll tack it, and then you'll be back for the last two games or what have you. Barring some sort of win in Miami and also a bunch of losses or something like that, where they're not eliminated this weekend. Yeah, I don't understand the point of playing Edelman, and I think you're right. I think it's smart to think, if he does come back for these last couple of games, and who knows, maybe, part of the thing with these contracts, especially with the Patriots, is a lot of money is tied into per game roster bonuses and things like that. So maybe he wants his money. And, but yeah, if he comes back and plays in two games when the Patriots are officially eliminated from the postseason, you have to think, is he doing it just to sort of wave to the fans who won't be in the crowd at the stadium, which will be, now that I said it out loud, that would be kind of a sad way for Julian Edelman's.
Oh, it'd be awful.
That just bummed me out a little bit. Actually saying that and imagining Julian Edelman playing his last game for the Patriots in a game where it doesn't matter, against the Jets in front of no one. Like, all right, now I just decided, just talking about it, I don't want that to happen. So now all of a sudden I've changed to, I do not want to see him in any of these games. I want him to get healthy. Yeah. I want him to come back refreshed, go get a new knee in the offseason, what have you. Come back next year when there will be fans in the stands, we hope. But yeah, I mean, I think your read on this is exactly right, and it's actually bumming me out right now.
Well, I'm sorry to bum you out in a snowstorm as well. Before we get to, I do want to talk about Tua. I do want to talk about some of these things that we could see coming up on Sunday. We also have to get to the betonline.ag little note from you as well. But I want to say this. You just mentioned about Edelman and playing his last game in front of nobody. I had this thought, and I haven't even talked about it yet this year, but I did have this thought earlier on when I saw Andrew Whitworth get carted off. Like, I couldn't help but think about, like, man, what that guy meant to the game, what he meant to so many teammates, played forever. And if that's it for him, like, and I think we overlook that. Like, all these guys that will be playing their final games in week 17, these guys that got hurt and got carted off with season-ending, maybe career-ending injuries, no fans in the stands in most of these places. And that's got to be that's even worse. Is, you don't necessarily want the hero send-off, but imagine being carted off in a silent field. And, like, just that to me is so eerie and so awful and so depressing. So, I know some guys, they'll play their last games this year in week 17 with no fans, and, they'll just end up walking into the offseason retiring or being told that they're done. I hope Edelman is not one of those guys. I hope he has a shot to come back, even if he catches 40 footballs next year. Hopefully there's fans in the stands and he's out there playing, and he has a very well-deserved and earned send-off to his career. I don't want it to end that way. Before we get to Tua and all this other stuff.
Nick, one thing on that.
Yep.
I think you're totally right about that. And especially, not only for the player, but also the fans. And, there's more of us, there's a lot of people out there that have invested a lot of years and a lot of energy and a lot of jerseys. And a lot of T-shirts to Julian Edelman. So, I think that they, as not as much as Julian, but certainly they're part of the process. But I do want to point out that while I think your instincts are correct, and there is something sad about a quiet stadium, I will say I do have to point out that a lot of these guys, they might talk about the fans, they might wave to the fans, they might play to the fans, but really at the end of the day, these guys are about their brothers on the football field. And as long as they're with their brothers and the guys that they go to battle with, and not to use a, poor metaphor using, war or whatever, but that's the mentality of these guys. As long as they're with each other, going off the field and in the locker room, even though that's even a little bit weird right now, that's all that really matters to them at the end of the day. So I don't think it's quite as dire, but I do think you're right. I mean, guys like Julian Edelman and Andrew Whitworth, absolute just legends in the game who have given everything to this game. They deserve the proper send-off.